Okay, y'all, before we get into this interview, I have to tell you what our friends at Target are up to. Through their Black Beyond Measure campaign, Target is celebrating and elevating Black success all year round. They had the HBCU design contest. Did y'all happen to catch the designs in stores last month? Oh, and you have to check out the Buy Black Product Hub. It is literally my favorite site to grab goodies for my home decor needs, especially candles. There are hundreds of Black-owned products on the site. So if you want to learn more about how Target continues to support Black entrepreneurs, students, and creatives, visit target.com/Black Beyond Measure. Ladies, mamas, hey. Okay, I'm so excited to have you guys here. I am Codie Lane Oliver, the CEO of Black Love, and this is the Mama's Den. Hey. Okay, so I'm going to just explain a little bit about why we all came together. Really explain that I love you all, and I'm obsessed with our conversations, let alone the things that you all share on social. And so I was like, I just want to hear them talk all day, all the time. I think we should do a podcast together. Yes. And I called each of you and I was like, what do you think? Everybody was like, yeah, let's do it.
So here we called us in the middle of a pandemic, which was wonderful because we didn't see anybody.
That's
so this was therapeutic.
Yes, it was.
Very, very therapeutic.
Yes, guys.
Yes. So the Mama's Den was formed, okay? But also share a little bit for those that are listening, because I'm just excited to give some mamas a little bit of us, a little bit of the diversity that we bring, right? I am a mama of 3. I've got Brooks, who's 5, and the twins, who are 3. Mm-hmm. Yes, Ashley.
I have 4 daughters. Amira's 12, Azara is 5, Asia is 3, Atalia is 2 months. Whew, I did it.
2 months.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, girl, you got hecka kids.
I got hella kids. It's like the little old lady in the shoe. My little ass apartment.
My name is Felicia Latour, and I have 2 babies. Peace is 7, and Zen is 3. Do you guys also have to think about your kids' age?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, their names. Because
you got
you got
11 kids.
That
So.
was childish of me to do
birthdays.
that.
How you do
When
it?
you born again? I don't remember.
Yeah, I put it in the Google Doc. And then
Wait, here's my question. I call them the wrong name, all the time. And it's Tommy likes to act like it's because I don't know who is who. I do. It's just a lot.
No, I do that too, and my kids aren't twins. My mom used to do it too.
I call my husband Cameron, and Cameron is exactly all the time. I am Melanie Fiona. I'm a singer. I am a songwriter. Are we talking about who we are?
Girl, give it to us. Give it to me. Yes.
And I'm like, hold on.
Because the reality is we are mamas and we have all these kids, but you also, you have a lot of other things.
Review my resume.
I have 2 kids. Let's pause because this is new. I have 2 kids. I'm recently a new mom of 2. I have a 5-year-old Cameron and I have a 7-week-old Kaya Love.
Wow.
And I can't believe I have a daughter. That shit is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
2. Welcome to the club.
Girl,
multiple
one of
children.
each. I know I'm finally in the multiple kids club.
A club that you were not fighting to be a part of. You were like,
No, I'll be the first to tell everybody I was one and done and I was good and I felt so content with having Cameron and
I put my
I
witchcraft
felt no
on
pressure.
her.
And then Ashley put her daughter witchcraft on me. She sure did. And that was so crazy how that happened. She really was like, are you sure Cameron doesn't need a sibling? I was like, I'm sure he's good. We're good. We're all good. And then she was like, come on. And then everybody started asking me about a daughter. And I was like, well, who's going to brush her hair? And Ashley was like, I am.
Yep.
And next thing I know, I was pregnant.
See?
well, looks like you got some hair to brush.
I do.
Lots.
Hey, what's one more head? I already have 5. No, 4. I don't know.
Okay, so Melanie shared a little bit about her background, but you guys too. What are you juggling in addition to this motherhoodness?
You go, girl, because you got all the things.
Yeah, I'm like, So I have a empowerment movement called Mindful Fee, where I empower women and mamas, and men get thrown in there as well. So juggling all things motivating human beings while trying to motivate myself and trying to motivate my children and my friends. I'm always juggling a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
We're working on something that's very exciting though, specifically to moms on a new level, is teaching moms how to get in shape post-baby.
Oh, I love
Because
that.
it's
Sign me
very
up.
difficult.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, may I add too? I'm an active runner, and we are running to Vegas.
It's crazy.
And I
Running
feel
to
like
Vegas.
I need to. And there's 3 moms on the team,
Oh, wow.
and we have multiple children. So yeah, yeah, that's all the mom stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but can we also talk about how she just did a collab with Barbie? Can we just tell the whole world that? That's where I got my shirt from.
It was very emotional.
It's very dope, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Somebody's mama, Felicia Latour.
Yes, that's right. I'm Ashley, and I'm currently doing a lot of things, working on a potential TV show and a journal. It's a prompted journal.
TV show.
Oh, it's a TV show that's coming.
Yeah,
that we're writing. So I'm really excited about that. Codie's working on it as well. So
this is exciting.
Yeah, and then I have a prompted journal coming out. It's not for people that have lost their parents, but it was inspired by my sister because my nephew was asking questions about her, and so I created a journal that parents could fill out to leave their legacy before they pass, ideally. So I'm really, really excited about that. And then I have like 18 children's books that we're working on. So just writing and breastfeeding is what my day-to-day life is.
I'm like, we're gonna go dig deep more into that journal things. I'm like, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yep. I'm excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Is now the time where I'm supposed to like do the I jumped the gun.
do it.
Hi, I'm Melanie Fiona again, and this is my podcast voice. No, I'm a singer-songwriter, I'm a mom, I'm a wellness advocate, and I am the founder of my motherhood brand, Melly Belly, which I'm really excited about.
Yay.
That's something that's been really passionate for me because I just have learned so much through the journey of motherhood, and I feel like transparency, community, and vulnerability is key. And that's really what brought us here together. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm also writing a book.
Yay! Love. Yay! Guys, first off, I have so many questions. Like, this is not like the question and answer period. Okay. I've already been informed to keep my questions to a minimum. But I just love hearing everything that you guys have going on. And I guess I didn't do me, right?
No, you didn't. Because
I'm Codie Oliver. I'm the CEO of Black Love and the director and producer of the Black Love docuseries. And yeah, the Black Love whole platform. We've got a podcast network. We have a streaming service. We have social medias. There might be coffee at the door.
It's an empire.
Okay. Yeah. And yes, there's a whole empire of brewing. And somehow, and honestly, it's been a struggle and wonderful doing all of that while literally getting married. Because my husband and I got married while creating the show and then had our first child. Well, we had him before the show came out. And then immediately we had twins after that. So I need these conversations.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I want you to know, Codie, every time I think about having this newborn and I think about having a 5-year-old and then just like that space, I always think of you because I'm like, how the hell did she do this with 2 kids at the same time?
I feel like it was easier when they were newborns and now it's like, oh my God, what do we do?
Yeah.
Can't take them back. They're 3.
No.
Literally, yeah.
They stay out.
They need their own show though.
I know.
I'm just going to put that
Everybody says it.
I had a visual of them going on like a talk show or something, and they're both just like turned up on the stage. You know, like, I think it's Ellen does that. They bring on like all these super talented kids. I'm like, no, those kids are like little geniuses.
Yeah, they are.
They're so. I show all my friends. I'm like, look what I just got in the mom group chat. Look at what they're doing. They are throwing. They're throwing beds out of the windows and locking and locking the nanny out.
They literally, yes, they.
Why did you lock the nanny out? Because I wanted to cook by myself.
Listen, that's what I'm about to say. I like how they always explain and admit what they did. Like they're just so aware. Yeah, they're like, well, I just set my house on fire, but it's fine. I love you. We're like little Cabbage Patch babies. Like cut your hair and be like, sorry.
Yeah, they're absolutely nuts. And half the time, like just having them and like doing all the things. I don't know if you guys feel this way too. Like for me, sometimes I look back and there are so many moments, even professionally, that are a blur because of whatever was going on with them. Yep. And then just looking back, like how did we get here? Yes. And what was missed, right? Like I was not fully present for XYZ, you know, but somehow we're here and now I have to like relearn some of the things that are accomplishments. But it's like I was just surviving the last 5 years. Now I'm trying to thrive. I'm trying to be like Felicia, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be like Felicia too.
That's crazy that you said that too, because I was telling Chia that the other day, my husband Brian Chia, that I feel like I can't remember like the last 4 or 5 years. Even when something good is happening because of our children, like even today to get ready, I literally like woke up and then I had to feed the baby and then I had to help the kids and then he had a phone call and then as soon as he got off, I got in the shower and then I'm like dress feeding the baby and I was like, okay, I gotta go, you gotta burp her. And it was just like super fast. Yep. I don't breathe and I don't realize what's happening around me or take in like, even when good things happen, I'm not even like living in that moment because I'm doing so many things with my kids. It's kind of crazy. It makes me sad because you start to feel like you're not accomplishing anything or you're not doing anything, and then you look up like,
and you're doing everything.
Yes, you're like,
Literally
I did like
Yeah.
you did a whole show, or you did a whole, you know, like all this stuff, but then you're like, but I'm just tired, and you don't even care.
No, I now that I'm a mom of multiple children, I really understand more why it takes a village to raise a child is like a thing, because my parents have been here, and it takes two people to make one baby. Let's talk about that. So when you have two, it's literally like man-to-man defense.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, Jared, my husband, go take care of this kid, or I'm going to take care of this kid. And it's like, if you have more than two children,
you go to zone.
what you go to zone?
You go to zone.
You better know basketball terms, by the way, if you don't know what we're talking about.
Because motherhood, parenthood is the sport.
Right, it is.
Yes.
It is a professional
Contact.
sport.
Yes.
Contact sport.
And you need the village. Like, you really
Yes.
do. You need people. You need support physically. You need mental support. You need community support. Like, I call Ashley all the time. Ashley,
Girl.
like, our kids are what, like 5 weeks apart?
Yes.
So we went through pregnancy at the same time. So every time I'm going through something like, what probiotic are you using? And what did you do for guests? And here's a video on how to make them fart. Like, it's just crazy things. And it's been so helpful, because I can
Yes.
say the first time I had Cameron, I felt very isolated, because
Yeah.
none of my friends had kids at the same time. I was going through that journey on my own. Cameron is either much older than my friends' kids now, or younger than all of my other friends' kids. So he came in a time. So I never had moms to go through pregnancy and delivery with in real time. So I'm very grateful for
Yes,
this.
same.
Like, I don't know, village.
Yes.
And my
Makes a
hope is
difference.
that that's what we can provide for our listeners, right? Is a
Absolutely.
little bit of the village, because we need it. Like, there, make no mistake. And that's my thing too, is about being transparent,
Yeah.
right? I will never say that it's easy or that I know what I'm doing.
Right.
No.
It's very easy to be hard on yourself too when you're a mom, you know? So to have other moms be like, girl, you're not tripping.
Right.
Is like, whew, that connection is.
No, motherhood to me, I think, is trial and error. Like, everybody's like, there is no formula for this shit. Like, it's just like, did this work for you? Okay, I'm gonna try that. No, but that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that worked with my first baby? No, that didn't work with this
Yep.
baby. Like, it's trial and error. You have to find everything, and you bump your head a few times, and you don't sleep a lot of nights, and you stress, and you go through these things. And so it's just figuring it out, much like everything in life. So that's why I feel like, to take the pressure off of moms, to have it all figured out and have it all together. And it's like, that shit is not real. Like, when people are like, what's balance like for you? I was like, balance is not 50-50.
No.
Like, balance some days is 90-10. And that could go professionally, that can go family-wise. And you have to just figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
Because that 50-50 is not real.
No.
And I would
at
say
all.
balance too, like, that word for me ultimately has moved into a space of like, it's not a percentage. It's just like, am I at peace? Am I like happy?
Girl,
and that
100%.
that might not be every day.
Right.
But the balance is like, okay, this was really hard, whether that's professional, whether that's the kids, right? But as long as like I'm still okay,
Yeah.
that's balance. We all right.
100%.
No. I feel like we should just eliminate the word balance, because I think that people, they strive for it, and then they feel imbalanced when they're like, but I'm not balanced in my life. Like you said, it's never going to happen. I always tell people the same thing. Like, every day is different. You're either going to be a really good mom that day or a really good employee. You know what I mean? If you're working,
Right.
and you have to just be okay with that. Like, today I was the best mom, but like, maybe I didn't get some stuff accomplished, or today, like, I got all this stuff accomplished and I ignore my kid. And then like, the next day, you know, like, maybe I'm going to spend a little more time with my work, or spend a little time with my kid, whichever one. But I feel like every day you just have to make that choice, and not even for the full day. It could be like half the day, but it's just not realistic, you know? And then you got to throw in a spouse if you have one. So it's like, you just got to choose which one is top priority, like, for that moment.
I mean, at the end of the day, your mental well-being is top priority.
Yeah. So
Whatever
whichever,
direction it takes you. Yeah.
I'm like visually thinking balance. I think a lot of people think balance is like, oh, you have to be like staying still.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
balance, it's always like a juggle of
That's a
things,
good point.
you know? Even when we're in yoga and we're doing a pose, the teacher would be like, now don't forget, you're going to wobble a little bit, but that doesn't mean that you're not like hitting it, you know?
Right.
I'm like, but that balance word is real tricky.
Yeah.
Super tricky.
We're just wobbling through life.
Girl.
Just wobbling.
Wobbly,
Wobble, baby, wobble, baby.
So that made me think of something though. It made me think about like where I learned even what we're saying about balance, right? With the twins, that was a really crazy like work time. I had crazy deadlines. We launched blacklove.com. We launched the first Black Love Summit, and that was in October, and I had them in November. And they were due later, but they're twins. So, but I learned that year to give myself grace. Like I had to force it because it was like, unfortunately, no one else was. So I had to learn to just take that for me and like whatever I'm not doing well enough, whatever that is, just be like, okay, I'll get it right tomorrow or whatever, but it is what it is. So I want to know like what maybe is one thing you've learned from either or any, Ashley, of your kids.
What is one thing I've learned from my children?
From either having them or like from the kids specifically.
Oh my God, I've learned so many things.
I know, of course you have.
Of course you narrow it down. You know what? This might not even be what you're thinking about, but one thing I thought I pride myself on is like self-reflection, and I'm really good at like correcting my behavior.
Ooh, yes.
But it's so funny that my oldest daughter, she's about to be 13, and I've been like really, really learning to change who I am, because she does this thing that drives me crazy, but she'll just call out my behavior like in the middle of it. Like even if I'm talking to her dad, not these ducks, I can't. I know, right? Like, girl. But she'll call out my behavior like in the middle of something, and it's so crazy. Like me and her dad will be talking, and she'll be like, I don't think that's what he meant. Like if you know how you get mad at your partner and you're like, yo, you're tripping, she's like, but he didn't say it like that. And I'm like,
That's how PC.
oh my God, because then I'll be like,
You ain't grown, huh?
yes, but like I want to tell her, so I don't want to tell her like mind her own business, because we're in a house talking out loud, like that's weird, you know what I mean? But I also don't want her to be one of those people who goes around like inserting herself in people's conversations. So I'll tell her like, okay, when you feel that way, like when we're done talking, come up to me and tell me like, I think that you were tripping, or like, you know, I don't think Dad meant it that way, but don't do it in the middle of the conversation. But now she does this thing. She's like, Mom, sometimes you can be judgy. And I was like, oh my God, like I never.
It's like she knows you.
I know.
It was like, are you?
It's like she lives with you.
It's like there's a Capricorn.
But
in the
I know,
house.
but that hurts my feelings, because no, realistically, you know how you think you are.
Yeah.
But then when people say things about your personality, like that's not your intention, but you don't realize that you're still doing it, right? So like there's parts of me that I work really hard to change that I don't like about myself. And then when my children point them out, it does hurt my feelings.
Accountability.
Because I'm like, I thought I wasn't like that anymore.
It makes you want to pay attention to it more too.
Yes.
Pieces the same exact way. Like I'll literally be like, did you hear your dad? She's like, that's not what he said. I'm like, wait, you're 7. What you mean? But then it makes me think like, okay, you're right. But then I think going back to, I never want her to feel like she's not allowed to vocalize how she feels, but it's like, there's a time and there's a place, child.
Don't be
like, and I need you to stand. And she'll just be looking at me. Yeah. Woo, child.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for that grown child conversation.
It's coming soon.
I know.
Because
Brooks is grown.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
he got like
old.
one more year, and he's going to be telling you like, Mom, you tripping. And
No,
you
I
just
think
got to let it happen.
I think something that I've learned through motherhood and just through my children now, especially now having a daughter too, is to be mindful of how I speak about myself, because they are watching, and I need them to know that we will only speak positive things about ourselves, even when we are reflecting, and even when we're being self-accountable and we're having that moment to ourselves. I just think it's very, very important. It's really made me mindful, because they're always listening.
Yeah.
They're always listening. And like for example, one day we were in the car. This is when I was pregnant, and Cameron was in the back seat. And first of all, I don't know if this is just me, but I'm a mess when I'm pregnant. Like I can't keep nothing clean. Don't let me wear white and eat anything, 'cause it's going to fall on the belly. It's all of it. So I was over myself because I was spilling everything in the car, and it fell on me, and I just let out this scream of frustration. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a mess. Like, why can't I get it together? And he just yelled at me from the back, and he's like, Mommy, you're not a mess. You're beautiful.
Oh no, I'm about to cry.
And
Too much.
I literally like paused, and I was like, wow, look at my 5-year-old putting love on me. Don't say that about yourself. And so that's really been very helpful. He's my, I don't know who he was in a former life, but he came definitely to teach me.
That's that Pisces, baby.
He is the Pisces, and he's so special. And like he says crazy things like, Mommy, when I was in your belly, I knew my sister.
What?
She was the little seed behind me.
But he told you
my
you were
God.
having a daughter anyway.
He's such a Pisces.
Yes.
Ooh,
that's how
maybe
a
in
mirror
tune
is. Yes.
and
He's
emotional.
So
Oh, I love it.
That he's one of my greatest teachers for sure. But yeah, how I speak about myself and the words I use. I mean, I've always tried to be mindful like that, but definitely having children watching and listening at all times is making me even more mindful of that.
Yeah. That's happening to me right now too, though, with Amira, because I just had a baby and now she's turning 13. And so I noticed like when and you have to literally, you cannot tell your kids anything. You just have to do, right? Because I'm always like, we love ourselves and talk positive, blah, blah, blah. But then if I'm not doing it, so then I noticed like after I had the baby, I was like, oh, I can't stand my belly, blah, blah, blah. And then I heard her sitting on the couch and she was just like, oh, I'm too skinny. And I was like, like, you know, I felt like a superhero. Like, what did you just say?
Right.
No, that's exactly what. And I was like, where did that come from? She was like, I just, you know, I want to get in shape like you said you wanted to get. So I was like, homie, nah. And so I was like, you are so perfect. You're so beautiful. And her dad got mad at me because I started letting her wear crop tops because I was like, listen, that stomach ain't never gonna look like that again. I was like, we're gonna wear them crop tops and let her rock her stomach just because I'm like, you know, I just want her to embrace her body and feel beautiful. And then I was like, I can't say that stuff in front of her. I'm gonna have to say it in the closet because I'm still gonna say it. Just gotta make sure she's not around.
Yeah. The thing about it is too, is that it never ends. Like yesterday, okay, so pause. After I had Cameron, I remember it was such a huge physical change for me that I actually went to therapy, not like for that, but that was a part of some of the stuff I discussed in therapy. And I remember my therapist said to me, she says, I need you to stop waiting to feel good about yourself. For a certain weight, for a certain time, for a certain thing. She's like, I want you to go out and I want you to buy yourself something today that fits you today. Don't wait till you get back into those jeans that are sitting in your closet. And I took her advice and I did. And I went and bought a skirt and I got dressed and I felt good. Yeah. So this time now, this girl, she did a whole thing on my body this time. We're not even going to talk about
daughters,
it.
baby number
daughters. Good. She came with hips for me. I was like, how do my pants not fit? The pregnant pants don't fit now. No. Anyways, but I decided, I was like, all right, I'm going to go buy some clothes that fit me now. I'm only 7 weeks postpartum, but I'm going to go buy some clothes that fit me now. And I walked into this store and these two older women who were like probably in their early 50s were talking about clothes and they were talking about buying stuff in the store. And the woman had walked in. She said, do you have anything that would fit me? She was a tall woman. And she was like, you know, maybe anything plus size. And the woman was in the store who worked there said, oh, we have a lot of flowy things. Like we could try this and try this. She was just like, I got this from here. And she's like, you know, look at me. She's like, I'm just a big Oompa Loompa. I just look like this. And I just walked into their conversation and I said, we are going to talk nice about ourselves today. And I said, because the world is too hard on us anyways. Yeah. And I was like, do you have kids? And she says, yes. She says, but my kid is 33. There's no reason why I should look like this. I said, we're not judging ourselves today. I was like, you do what you make feels good, but we are not going to talk about ourselves that day. And it broke my heart to feel that way, to see women older than me, women who have lived and done all whatever they might have done in their lives, and they still carry that just like judgment, the self-judgment after having kids. And I was so grateful that I could be the voice that stepped in that moment. Yeah, wow. And they were like, you're right. And it's because I was going through it in real time for myself. Yeah, right. And I know I was placed there in that moment to share that as well.
You're like, dang, that's how I sound.
Yeah.
Like, woo.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. I had like a real moment like that one time because I'm very mindful of how I speak to myself because I started to notice that the more that I was nicer to myself, the more that my outside world changed so beautifully. So I'm very as mindful as possible. Not perfect at it, but I'm doing pretty damn good. Okay?
Listen, whole brand, mindful fee.
Mindful fee. I love it. But yeah, it forces me to be as mindful as possible because it makes a difference. Yeah. It makes me happier. It makes the people around me happier. But I remember one time we were in Vegas, me and a group of my girlfriends, and we were all going to dinner, and I was being so hard on myself, like so hard. And I think it was like the ultimate spiritual moment because I looked in the mirror and I was like, stop. This is enough. You need to start being effing nicer to yourself. Like literally it was a full conversation, but I feel like my spirit really just connected with like my flesh and was like, we're not doing this no more. Yeah. And I remember just crying and I was like, what just happened? I'm like, oh no.
Awakening.
That's God, like, what's it? Like, what are we going to do? But in that moment, had I not had that realization, I don't think that I would be here today because it really started to change the way that I moved, you know? And when I don't know about you guys, but I know before having kids, I was so tiny, just like cute, petite. And I used to be so hard on myself. And I was like, bitch, you was bomb. Like, hello. So now in this moment, I'm like, no, we gonna do whatever you gotta do to smile and back in that mirror. That's what we're gonna do.
Isn't that crazy when you look back at pictures and you're like, what was wrong with me? Like I picked myself apart. Yes. Girl. And I was like, way smaller than I am now. It is wild. It's definitely wild.
All right, y'all, we are going to take a little pause right here to talk about joy. And something small that brought me joy this week was my weekly Target run. I was able to shop Black-owned and founded brands and get everything I need to bring me a little joy. And we're not talking about just in February. Through their Black Beyond Measure campaign, Target is celebrating the Black community all year round. It's important to make sure that we all take a moment for joy. If you want to surround yourself with a little joy and help uplift and celebrate Black creatives and entrepreneurs, make sure to visit target.com/Black Beyond Measure to learn more. So I want to ask one question before we close out, because one thing that we didn't say, we all came into motherhood in different times in our lives and with different circumstances, right? So if you'll just each say that, I'll start, but just say like how old you were, what your relationship status was, what it is now, and then like what you hope, someone takes away from this whole experience of the Mama's Den. Cute. So like for me, I was, Lord, what was I? I was 29 when I met Tommy. So what was I, like 31, 32 when I had Brooks? So dying to be a mom my whole life and get married, and 5 seconds later we're pregnant with our oldest. And I had spent a lot of time in my life thinking about having kids and what that was like, and watching people in the grocery store and like, okay, so kids, they gonna snap on you sometimes. Okay, that's what you do. Okay. Like I literally planned for the worst. And so he was just a delight, because I was already just like he's gonna pee on us. He's gonna, I just expected the horrible things, and it was just way better than I could have imagined. But yeah, so that was my experience of becoming a mom, and still married. What is it? 7 years right now. And then we had 2 more. So that was my coming into motherhood. And what I hope that folks can take, honestly, what I hope folks take from the Mama's Den is just the realistic picture of the beauty and imperfection in this journey, because it's wonderful, but it's necessary to like pull back the curtain, because it's not all rainbows and butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ladies in the store said.
Right.
33 years later.
Oh God. Okay. I'm going back years.
Yes.
So Jared, that's my now husband. We were dating.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting because we were dating for a year, and then I broke up with him and I told him he needed to get his shit together and he needed to come back and come correct. And he did. And I didn't hold my breath. It was the first.
I love this story so much.
We gonna break it all the way down.
We should do like a full episode on it.
Yes.
But it was a very interesting time because it was the first relationship that I had given myself permission to not feel like I needed to control everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I left and when I broke up with him, even though I loved him, I was like, if it's going to work out, it's really going to work out. And I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm going to move on with my life. I'm going to move forward. I'm not going to look back. And if he is going to meet me, he will meet me where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to turn around. And he did just that. And 5 months later, we were pregnant.
Shout out, Jared.
And yes, so we got pregnant so quick. And it's interesting because our connection and our relationship is so special. And I feel that way because I truly believe not just who we are as partners, but our purpose for coming together was 100% for Cameron. Mm. Because I just feel like his little soul and spirit was waiting, like, finally, y'all got your shit together. Here I come. And that's why it happened so fast. And so I was 32 when I had Cameron. And I was 33.
Yeah, I was
33. And it was interesting because I remember at that time, my brother came to me before I found out I was pregnant. He was like, so, you're really involved in your career, and I just wanted to talk to you about how you feel about kids. Oh, wow. And I was like, I am not old. He was like, you might want to consider freezing your eggs. I'm like, sir, I am not old. And he was like, no, he's like, I just know that you would want a family one day. I was like, yeah, one day I'll be okay. And he's like, you might want to consider it. So it gave me paranoia. Like, am I not family planning? Am I not thinking properly? Yeah. Child, I was already pregnant and had no idea.
Oh, wow.
But it really, I didn't know when I was going to want to have kids. Yeah, right. I knew I wanted to have kids. And so that's when it happened. It happened in the height of my career, which was a whole shift and a whole process and journey as well. And, it's a very, here we are now. Yeah. With the baby later, 39, and here we are.
And married.
Married now. Shit.
How old was Cameron when you got married?
Cameron was 4. No. 4? what year are we?
2020.
2020. So to 2020. So he
Yeah.
was 4. Yes, he was 4 years old. And it was interesting because even that journey of how I thought my life was going to go, where I thought I was going to be married to whom in my 20s, blah. I'm so glad I did not do that shit. I'm so glad I built my career and traveled the world and met my now husband.
That's right.
And didn't settle with that fool I was with. But you know, like it's a really like it's just a really it's a really important journey, I think, for me I broke what it was. Like I was so concerned about it being traditional at one point in my life. My parents are married for 46 years. I was concerned about having a baby out of wedlock. All these things that really didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. And so the thing that I would like for anybody who's listening to take away is that every journey is beautiful. However you get there, however you choose, when you choose, if you choose, you don't have to. And I hope that that's what everybody listening takes, is that there is no right path, only your own.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen.
I'm about to start crying.
I think I'll be okay. Get that coffee here.
I'm like, this is beautiful. I get really emotional.
Oh,
I feel like I'm very open at this moment.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this peaceful space.
Aw.
Okay, so for myself. Okay, so I think I had peace when I was 23. It was one of those like, I'm pregnant and then I have her a month after my next birthday.
Yeah.
It's around that range.
Yeah.
And then I had Zen at 28 or 29 because he just turned 3. I don't know, you guys.
I don't either.
I was in my 20s.
I remember when you were
I
pregnant.
always just say my 20s because everything is just like a big blur, to be honest. So I got pregnant with Peace 6 months after dating their father.
Ooh.
Moving too fast.
No.
I don't think I knew
Destined.
It's destined for
Yes,
sure.
Look at that little
But
girl.
I do,
She's destined.
I'm like, but I'd be like, whew, I had kids
Wow.
very young. Mind you, growing up, me and my best friend Felicia, we would always like.
Wait a second. You got a best friend, Kalisha and
Yeah,
Felicia?
and Felicia.
I'm done.
Yeah,
That's
Felicia
also
and Felicia.
destined. Shout out to Kalisha.
Felicia girl. So we would always
I'm tired. I didn't even catch that till you said it. I was like, oh, that rhymes, don't it?
Yes, we
Felicia
are
and
tired.
Felicia.
Okay.
Sorry.
Girl. So we would always write down names of like, when I get older and I have a baby, I want my baby's name to be this or that. But I never visualized myself being a mom because I saw my mom raise us on her own. And so I'm like, I don't really look too fun. Like that it wasn't appealing to me. I saw other moms that I feel like were able to be more hands-on, like a full family. But with my mom, I was like, I don't know. Like I know I like to help and I like motherly things, but I just never visualized it. So when I got pregnant with Peace, I was very much like, what the hell's going on? And I had never been pregnant before. So I was really like, what the hell's going on? And their father was like, let's do it. I'm like, what you mean let's do it? We both, at a very, very special place in our careers. And the good thing is that we both at the time worked for ourselves as well. But my makeup career was starting to go up. And I was just like, oh my God, like I finally landed like a client that I could be with all the time. That's kind of like what you're working for, you know? So I was very nervous. He had just opened a shop, a clothing shop on Fairfax. And both was just like, okay. The thing that I love the most is that his background, they're very like a tight-knit family, and that was the thing I felt confident and comfortable with being like, okay, let's have the baby.
Yeah.
Peace is everything. Like she's fucking awesome.
Yes.
And I think that she saved our lives, like on so many levels. And she really started to, shift me into where my career is at now with Mindful Fee, because I'm like, you blessed me with the gift of being able to be a mom. And that's what I do, is encourage and inspire other moms to feel like, that you're not alone, that you still can have these crazy, wild dreams. We can do everything. And me really walking in that space in my life and walking in my purpose is probably one of the biggest rewards outside of my children. That's why we say Mindful Fee is baby number 3. So I want people to take away, I have another kid too. We're about to get on that one in a minute. But I want moms and women to take away that it's like, girl, you're not alone. Like we are literally in this together. The craziest thing that you can think of really ain't that crazy to somebody else, So yeah. And then I have my son, Zen. I wanted a boy really bad. And I was like, okay, I can do this. 1 kid, cool. My son Zen is like 3 people in one.
I just want to shout out the fact that his
so
name is Zen.
I know.
And
I love it.
he is
Not.
He is, and see, we didn't messed up because his name was supposed to be Jaden, but I was like, how do we call one kid Peace and the other one is Jaden? I was like, I don't know about this, even though I'm like, I love the name.
Yeah.
Zen teaches me so much in life. He teaches me to be patient. He teaches me to use my words. He teaches me to breathe. He teaches me to not stop at no, because he's very like, this what I want, this what I'm gonna get. And I'm like,
Girl, don't let
dang,
him get
well,
with
I'm
these
like,
twins.
low key, you
Don't.
right. I'm like, we have to shift it a little bit. I'm like, but maybe I need to press a little further in this space of life. Yeah. Was that all the questions?
I
I
think
think
so.
so.
Yeah.
I think you got
Okay,
it.
so yeah. Ashley?
Oh God. Okay.
Ashley, we don't expect you to remember all the ages you
Honey.
had when you were.
And the
Listen,
name-
we just want to know your journey to motherhood, not the 17
Yeah.
kids that came
Don't do that.
after.
Okay. I had my first child at 24, and I got you beat. Me and Chia were only dating for 2.5 months before I got pregnant. So yes, it's a
How long
thing.
were you guys friends though?
Well, okay, we were friends for 4 years.
Okay.
But we were not dating. We were both dating other people. I actually spent the majority of our friendship trying to get him to get back with his ex-girlfriend.
I remember you saying
yes, I was their mediator. Like, you should do this and try to, like, I was trying to get him to go on somewhere. Like, I was not interested in him at all.
That's why you
Was he
got pregnant so fast.
And was he interested
So
in
just
you?
like, this is for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, he always
He
liked
wanted
me.
to date.
He-
Okay.
I did not know that. He always liked me, even when I had a boyfriend.
Even when you're
Girl,
working
now
with
you
his
know
friend.
men do not care.
I know, but he always liked me. For 4 years, I had no idea. So I was not checking for Chia, trust me, because I was trying to find me my dark-skinned man with locks. Okay, that was my goal.
Right. I hear
Just
you.
trying to have like a Love Jones situation going on.
Stella got a groove back.
Yeah, something.
But
Yeah. instead, I got my cheese
Watermelon and
situation.
egg
I
rolls.
was right. I was like, no, we're just friends. But no, him and I was living in New York, and I was following my dream. I literally was a month away from about to audition for Alvin Ailey. I was like prepping and getting ready for the audition, and I found out I was pregnant. So I moved back to Ohio, and we just kind of like figured it out. I know we were definitely in a zone of like, he's a year younger than me too, but he had already had a house, graduated from college. He was doing like really well for himself, living that Midwestern dream. Like, I graduated from college, got a good job, 401k. And I was like living in New York, like barely, surviving half the time. And he was like, come back and we'll have a family. It was just, an interesting journey of motherhood, because neither one of us really knew what we were doing. And like my mom was a single mom. So I never wanted to have kids either. I was kind of like, that's not cute. I didn't even want to get married. No, like we waited. Amira was 7 years old when we got married, because I just was not sure about it. It wasn't important to me. What was important is that, okay, we're having this baby. And honestly, the reason why I decided to have her is because my sister died a year before. And I was like, oh, this is definitely destined. Their birthdays are the mirror. It's like 12/3 and 3/12. So I was like, oh, like this, she's meant to be here. But I wanted to see if we were good parents first. Like, let's just see how it works. And then we got married. And then after we got married, I was like, okay, let's just have some more. And we had one more. And then I was breastfeeding and got pregnant again. I definitely wasn't planning that third child. And so then after that, I told this story the other day because my homegirl was over. A lot of people don't know this. You know how I'm like, oh, rah, rah, I love my daughters. So me and Chia actually did try to have a boy.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't know this. We did I was eating certain things. I used every Chinese calendar. He was doing sperm retention, all of that. We're going to wait. We did a specific position. I remember when we made this baby.
yes.
I was like, get behind me. Get behind me. No. And literally when we took the pregnancy test, I looked at it it's another girl. I just knew that we were going to have 4 daughters. And before we had our 4th child, I was like, do you want to have 4 daughters, or do you want to have a boy? Because that's important, because I want to know that you're okay with having 4 girls, because we're probably not going to have a son. We were just we're just going to try, see what happens. But we know we're going to have a daughter. But it's definitely been a journey. For me, I feel like I've learned so much throughout with all of my children. I've become more self-aware. Like I said, I think that I'm continuously growing. It's the same thing that you said I was going to say, even when you were like, what is happening with my mouth? Okay, let's start over. When you were saying, what do I want to get out of this? I was going to say the exact same thing as you. You are not alone, because I feel I was the only one who had a child with all of my friends for a long. They're just now having babies, most of them. And so I definitely felt very alone. I confided in my mom a lot, but still different parenting styles, generations. And so I love the idea of women being able to listen to something, see something where they feel seen and heard, and all these different perspectives of like motherhood and virgins and parenting. Yeah. And definitely finding a partner or someone, that supports you in any kind of way, because I feel like my parents were not together and they are still my example of parenting. They love each other so much. They're so respectful to one another. They always were like tag team back again. Like my mom would be like, did you ask your dad? Just because he doesn't live in his house, he's still your father. You respect his opinion. That is always my goal, because I also want people to, I know 3 of us are married, but that doesn't mean anything. You really just want to make sure that you find people to support you and love you, but don't feel like if you're not married that, do you know what I mean, your parenting situation is not like as important, or do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because like my parents are and I have a lot of friends whose parents are not married now, and they were when I was growing up, and I was so jealous, you know what I mean? So I definitely feel like just sharing different perspectives and letting people know that like every version of motherhood is important, or fatherhood as well. You know,
there's no one way.
No, there's definitely not one way.
I love it, guys. Well, I can't wait to dig into all the things with you mamas. I really do. I love you guys so much.
Love you too.
That's the Mama's Den.
Boy.